The Miami Heat are looking to re-sign Davion Mitchell, which I'm sure excites Miami Heat fans. But the question is, what's going to be the price? Should the Miami Heat try to lowball Davion Mitchell or give him what he's due? All that and more in another episode of Miami Heat Talk. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe as we push for 7,000 subscribers. Click that notification bell to get all the updates. Now that we got that out the way, hit that intro.
That is enough said.
Happy Friday, Heat Nation! Your boy Ernest here, back with another Miami Heat Talk video. Hope you guys have had a great week so far. Appreciate everyone's support. Now please join me as we go on another Miami Heat Talk adventure. Now before we get started with today's episode, I want to thank you guys because of my previous episode yesterday, the recent one about the Kevin Durant update. I did hit over 100 likes on the episode. Again, guys, thank you so much. But because we hit 100 likes, I'm going to do a shout out in the comments from one of the episodes from yesterday. Now, I did post 2 episodes yesterday. The first one was about Brook Lopez possibly coming to the Miami Heat on a mid-level exception. And I had a great comment on that episode. I'm going to give a shout out to my boy, Miami Heat Hype. He's got his own YouTube channel. He does pretty cool shorts on there. He's a great supporter on my channel. He's always commenting. I appreciate you, my dude. And he did give some great insight to the episode with me and Big Bro Ralph. He said, I love the other channel, you and Ralph Gray. Very good insight. And then he mentioned, as far as the Kevin Durant trade, I really do think that the Miami Heat and Pat in the front office are trying their best to get Durant on this team. Give it at least as possible under the covers. Telling Durant to make a stink 100% for sure. But in my opinion, I'm okay with giving Ware away with the first and possibly Jaime Jaquez. But that's about it. And then we can use Duncan and Terry and other assets like seconds or cash considerations or a third team option to get other role players to combine with Durant. I mock trade in mock season the Kevin Durant trade, and we go very far in the finals in 2K. So love the comment, brother. Appreciate the support. I know you asked for a shout out, so here you go. Hope you loved it. The only thing I would say, mock drafts in NBA 2K, I don't really do those because they don't really include the first and the second apron. I like the trade machines online because that actually includes the first and second apron tax line. So it does give you more of an accurate type of trade. But I appreciate you, Miami Heat Hype. Thank you so much for the love. And if you guys get me to 100 likes on this episode, I'll do a shout out on another video. So thank you guys again for your support. In today's episode, you guys, I want to talk about Davion Mitchell because a report came out from Sports Illustrated, Bleacher Report. A lot of sources are talking about it, that the Miami Heat are looking to re-sign fan favorite Davion Mitchell. And obviously a lot of us read this report or see this report and think the same thing. Duh. The reason why I say duh, you guys, is because Davion Mitchell fit this team like a glove. Davion Mitchell was drafted from the Sacramento Kings, had a year last year with the Toronto Raptors, couldn't really find his footing except for his rookie season where he had one of his best statistical seasons. But here in the Miami Heat after the trade, we've gone through this before. I've talked about Davion Mitchell, but the last time has been a few months ago, so just a little refresher. He did play 30 games with the Miami Heat, started 15 of those games, averaged 32 minutes a game, a career high, 10.3 points a game, almost a career high, 5.3 assists a game, career high, 2.3 rebounds, almost a career high, averaged 46% from the field, 40% from the 45% from the 3-point line, another career high, 70% from the field. Now, we know that Davion Mitchell fits this team like a glove. You saw it all year long. He's a pest defensively. He found his offensive rhythm here in the Miami Heat. This is a guy that you can look at to be a building block for the future. Is he a starting point guard? Is he a backup point guard? That really depends, you guys, on what this team is going to look like. I think Davion Mitchell can do both. You saw him play great starting next to Tyler Hero. You also saw him play great coming off the bench for Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson. So he's a kind of a plug-and-play guy. I love him because his tenacity on defense. He has this dog-like mentality that we desperately need. He gets up on defenders. He picks them up 90 feet. He's a guy that you can allow to guard the opposite team's best opposing guard, and you don't have to double team them. Also, playing out there with Bam Adebayo and Kel'el Ware, these are three guys that are perfect defensively. And if you trade for Kevin Durant, having a starting lineup of Kel'el Ware, Bam Adebayo, Kevin Durant, Tyler Hero, and Davion Mitchell can be one of the best in the East. That's a great starting lineup in my mind. It's just, what do you put around those players? I cut an episode earlier today talking about the potential of picking up Brook Lopez. A lot of you guys like that. But another thing that I want to talk about with Davion Mitchell, the question isn't whether we should bring him back or not. We all know Davion Mitchell should come back. We all know Miami Heat is most likely going to bring back Davion Mitchell. But the question is, what's the contract going to look like? He's making $6.5 million this season. He has an $8.1 million qualifying offer that the Miami Heat will extend, obviously. And this is going to make him a restricted free agent. Now, the good thing about being a restricted free agent is whatever a team offers Davion Mitchell, the Heat can match it. Now, there's been a lot of reports that have happened the last few weeks determining around where is his contract status going to be. It's most likely going to be around the mid-level exception. Now, Bleacher Report reported and predicts that the Miami Heat will re-sign Mitchell to a salary close to the non-taxpayer mid-level exception. It should be in the $12 million range. Mitchell's salary prior, like I mentioned, was $6.5 million. So this will be about a 50% raise, which is definitely something he deserves. Bleacher Report also, I'm not going to read what they wrote here because it's literally everything I just said about his stats and statistical value. But one thing that I will say, and this is one thing that Sports Illustrated reported, is that the Miami Heat are one of the reported finalists in the Kevin Durant trade negotiations. Landing the 15-time All-Star is not one of their only priorities this offseason. Davion Mitchell, acquired from the Toronto Raptors at the trade deadline, is projected to hit unrestricted free agency. Well, technically restricted free agency. Miami is reportedly interested in bringing him back. Now, we know the Heat are looking to bring him back. I know Miami's going to re-sign him, but the question is, do you give Davion Mitchell the full mid-level exception for $14 million? I think $12 million is great. I think if the Heat can finagle their way to get even further under the luxury tax line, you can give Davion Mitchell that extension. You can also have enough money to save to pay another player the mid-level exception. You also have a biannual exception at $5 million you have this offseason. Now, that's also depending on what do you do. If you're able to move Andrew Wiggins, Duncan Robinson's, and Terry Rozier's contract, only take back Kevin Durant, and if you're able to let go of Terry Rozier for like a salary filler, then yeah, you can get yourself under that line. But it looks like most likely the Miami Heat may have to offer that mid-level exception to Davion Mitchell if they trade for Kevin Durant. And if you're asking me, does Davion Mitchell deserve the full mid-level exception? Absolutely. Especially with his age being 26. I think, I don't think you've seen the best of Davion Mitchell. I think he can get even better. He won't be an all-star, but he's going to be one of the best glue role player guys you have on this team. You keep a guy like that, especially if you can get him at anywhere from $12 to $14 million. Here's the only thing. There's not going to be a huge market in the NBA this offseason. The only team that's really going to have money is the Brooklyn Nets. If Brooklyn does offer Davion Mitchell more than the $14 million mid-level exception, the Heat may not match it. The Heat have made some boneheaded-ass decisions before, and I could think of the Brooklyn Nets because they did this. Brooklyn Nets offered Tyler Johnson a 4-year, $50 million contract, and Mickey Arison said, "You're not going to poach my guys," and match that contract. It was a mistake. Davion Mitchell would not be a mistake, but it is depending on the money. If Brooklyn offers Davion Mitchell a 4-year, $80 million contract, man, that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. I don't see Brooklyn offering them that, but they can. Like I mentioned in the video earlier today, they're going to have $40 million in cap space. Restricted free agents, players do that sometimes. They just kind of offer them these huge contracts just to spoil the other team, you know? Like Indiana tried that with DeAndre Ayton a few years ago where Phoenix matched it, you know? It's just really depending on how much Miami's looking to spend. But I feel that if the offer is around $12 to $14 million, give it to him. Should you lowball Davion Mitchell? I mean, depending on the market, depending on what he's offered, I think the Heat aren't just going to throw money at him. They're going to see what he kind of gets in the open market. They're going to see what kind of offer he has. And yeah, if the Miami Heat can do something where it's like, hey, you know, we'll give you a 4-year, $35 million contract, you know? That's about average anywhere between like 8 to 9 million, a little more than $9 million a year. That would be nice. I think that would be comfortable. If you're able to get Davion Mitchell anywhere between the $8 to $10 million per year range, that's a steal. So Heat Nation, I want to hear from you. Do you want Davion Mitchell to come back? I know the answer is yes, but what's the most you'd be willing to spend for him? If it's the full mid-level exception, would you be willing to do that? If it's more than the mid-level exception, would you be willing to do that? Because a team can offer him that, and the Heat would have to match it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe as we push for 7,000 subscribers. Thank y'all so much for the continued support. Until next time, your boy Ernest out, and that is enough said.